When Tricia woke up, the birds were singing and the light was strong and bright. Was it the middle of the morning? She got down on her knees and drank water from the stream. The water would probably make her sick again, but she had to drink it. She stood up and started walking down the hill beside the stream. After 100 steps, the cold voice spoke inside her head.
You forgot your pack. Haha.
The voice was right. Tricia turned around and went back up the hill. She was weak and tired. She walked slowly. After a minute, she knew that Tom was walking beside her. About the middle of the day, Tricia sat down.
Am I going to die, Tom? Aren't I?
She asked. There was no answer. She opened her eyes and looked around. Tom was gone. At last, she got up and started walking again. At the same time, one detective was talking with Tricia's mother and brother, who was asking questions about the parking lot where they had left the car on Saturday morning. Are you saying that my daughter was kidnapped? Oh no, did somebody take her from behind us while we were arguing? And then Pete started to cry too. The search was continuing, but now the man and the woman in the woods were looking for the girl's pack, her poncho, her clothes. They no longer hoped to find the girl herself. They were looking near the place where the girl was last seen, but Tricia was 30 miles away from there. She was no longer in Maine. At 3 o'clock that Monday afternoon, she crossed into the state of New Hampshire. It was more than an hour later when Tricia saw the bushes of checkerberries ahead of her. She started to run. A moment later, she was pushing them quickly into her mouth. Her fingers and hands turned red, and so did her mouth. She picked more berries and put those in her pack. When her backpack was nearly full, she went to the stream and sat down. On the other side of the stream, there was a little clearing between the trees. In that quiet moment, she was completely calm and peaceful. She felt so sleepy, so full, so wonderful. She looked back at the little clearing on the other side of the water. 3 people were standing there, looking at her. She thought they were looking at her. She couldn't see their faces or their feet. The people were wearing long robes with hoods that hid their faces. 2 of the robes were white. The one in the middle was black.
Who are you?
Tricia called to them.
Will you help me? I'm lost. I've been lost for...
But how long had she been lost? She couldn't remember. Was it 2 days or 3?
I've been lost for a long time. Will you please help me?
But the people didn't answer. They only stood looking at her. The person on the left moved. He pushed the hood back so that Tricia could see his face. It was the face of an intelligent person. It was a lot like the face of Tricia's science teacher at school. He come from the god of the Tom Gordon. He can't help you now. There's a lot happening today. He's busy. After a moment, the other white-robed person moved. He pushed back his hood, and his face was her father's face. It was nearly her father's face.
Am I dreaming? Do you come from the sub-audible?
I am the sub-audible. I had to take the shape of someone you know so that you could see me. But I'm quite weak. I can't do anything for you, Tricia. Sorry. Now the black-robed person moved. Tricia was suddenly very afraid.
No, no, not you.
She tried to get up, but she couldn't move.
No, no, don't do that, please. I don't want to see your face.
There was no face there, only the shape of a head. And the shape was made of wasps. They crawled over each other, buzzing. Behind them, Tricia could see an empty eye, a smiling mouth.
I come from the things in the woods. I come from the god of the lost. It has been watching you. It has been waiting for you.
Go away.
The world is bad. The skin of the world is made of things which stink. You know this now. Under the skin there is nothing but bone and the God which we all share.
Tricia was crying now. She looked away down the stream. Then she looked back, but the black robed thing with the wasp voice was gone. All of them were gone.
It was all a dream. That's what it always says in history books.
But she couldn't remember going to sleep. She got up and went to the stream. There were two big rocks in the water, and she used them to cross the water. Suddenly, the feeling that somebody was watching her returned. Tricia looked around. There was nothing there. Not that she could see, but she heard this cold voice in her head again.
It's watching you, waiting for you.
Tricia went to the place where the three robed figures had been standing, but there was nothing to show that they had ever been there. There were no footprints on the ground.
Yes, it has been watching you.
And it was watching her again now. Maybe she had dreamed about the three hobbit people, but she was not dreaming about their terrible eyes. Looking quickly on each side of her, Tricia moved back towards the stream. At any moment she expected to see in the woods the God of the Lost. When she got to the stream, she jumped across it, using the rocks. She was sure that the thing was behind her. When she reached the other side of the stream, she turned and looked back, but there was nothing.